Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How's it going? Good. Sorry for the apologies for the mix-up. I'll go straight to the presentation. I'll start with this quote by Bill Gates, which says, "Banking is necessary, banks are not." For us, that actually forms the foundation of our business, because we believe banking is not so much about what you do. It's actually about how you actually go about doing them. I start with talking about Africa, and of course looking at Nigeria and our population. Our current population is about 190 million. Out of this population, you have probably between 35 and 40% aged between 18 and 35. So that gives you an idea of the volume or the potentials that lie in and within our population. What drives fintech in Nigeria? There are so many factors: population dynamics, changing economic landscape, sophistication in consumer expectation, which is largely driven by our population, and the demography, enabling regulatory environment, and of course, the buzzword of fintech. Now, looking at Nigeria, like I said earlier, the population is driven by the consumers, and the consumers that are within that age range. And of course, the advent of smartphones. Today, you have close to 100 million phones in the country, with a population of probably about 60, 70% of them being enabled on the internet. Now, what are those inhibiting factors that challenge the fintech growth in Nigeria? One is infrastructure. I'm sure you've heard so much about infrastructural problems in Nigeria, from telcos to roads to services, and that has affected a lot in terms of our ability to actually drive growth with the fintech. Cost of funding, that has been a major problem, because sourcing funding for fintechs has become a major issue. Identity verification, before now, it was almost impossible to identify customers. So you don't even know when a customer walks into you and he brings out his passport, and you're sure that passport is actually representing him or her. So that was a major problem until recently. Sparse risk data and analysis. There was no data, or there was a bunch of data that was consistently inconsistent. So we had to actually build our own data from the scratch. So that was a major problem. Poor collection structure. When you don't even have full details of those that are owing, you don't even have a mechanism for collection. This just talks about page, and in terms of our vision, what we're driving at. I did an analysis here, which probably will be useful later. It just explains the competitive environment within which we are operating. And now, this is our business model. So we take the customer segments. So we lend to employed individuals, corporate institutions, and also SMEs. Today, we have channels across every facet of technology. From our website, you could apply for a loan, initiate and complete the process. From our branch, we actually operate from one location in Lagos now, but we do, I would say, much more volumes than, I think, almost all the microfinance banks in the country. We have our mobile app, and the beauty of our mobile app is that we've developed an app which actually gives you an end-to-end solution in terms of your ability to initiate and process a loan. But it also does one thing. It gives you an opportunity to also initiate and complete a savings process. So we're driving both our liabilities and creating assets in the process. And of course, we have our direct sales team. We have close to 100 staff who are on the streets of Lagos running around. We have our debit cards. We created a debit card which enables you to transact directly on our system. And we have e-commerce partners all across. And of course, agents. Our service offerings: personal loans, savings, and fixed deposits. Now, I'll go to our key resources. We built our own technology infrastructure in-house. We built our banking application. We went ahead and built a switch. So today, we are connected to practically all the switches in Nigeria through our own internal switch. And that enables us to process our transaction I'll say effortlessly. And our business intelligence system, we created a system which actually interfaces with all the credit bureaus in Nigeria. It interfaces with the central switch, which is NIBS, and it also interfaces with the InterSwitch, which controls 75% of the traffic in Nigeria. So we've been able to actually develop also a very robust risk management system, which actually analyzes what each and every customer does. So for instance, we're able to analyze from your what we call debt-to-income ratio. We use that to determine how much you can get. We're able to also develop a mechanism to ensure that we monitor what each customer does in terms of processes. I'll just run through this for time. Now, this just summarizes our technology innovation. Funding, you can open a savings account with us and complete the process electronically. Loan application process, like I said, is all digital because there's no human interface. Business intelligence, we're able to develop a mechanism to actually ensure that we're able to analyze our customers, analyze their needs, and actually provide solutions. Risk management, we have an algorithm which analyzes and processes data based on your historical data. Customer engagement, we're able to actually continue to hold on to our customers and retain them. Then our collection process. We have automated our collection process to the extent that we have interfaces with all the major providers of data. So we're able to actually reach your fund once there's credit there. And it has probably a 60-day iteration, which ensures that we're always monitoring what is happening. Then one of the things we've done is actually with our turnaround time. We have been able to bring down our turnaround time from about 24 hours 2-3 years ago to probably about 30 minutes now. And we're actually working on bringing it down further. So we're able to provide services, of course, driven by technology. And this just gives an idea of how we're growing, where we're going to, and a summary of what we've done so far. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Questions from judges?
Listening to your presentation, you just sound like a bank, right? So what is the differentiator? You know, it's quite clear with Avamba and MyBucks what the differentiator is, but you just sound like an innovative bank.
Okay, maybe because I did banking for 22 years before I retired. But I actually started from technology. I have a first degree in computer science, so I have a very good understanding of technology. If you look at the first slide I showed, we don't want to be a bank. We want to be a first-stop consumer finance shop where someone can come and actually do everything a bank offers, but in a more simplified manner. But again, we are providing the end-to-end process. So we have the technology, we have the financial capability, and we're able to create our liabilities ourselves. We don't take money from, we have our funding, we fund ourselves, and we're able to lend. Today we have a deposit base of about $25 million. And of course, our lending portfolio is well in excess of $15 million. And today we're in Nigeria, but we're already closing talks, expanding into Ghana. We're discussing with Guinea-Conakry. So we're trying to be as Pan-African as possible. And interestingly, we actually won the FinTech Award for last year, and we're hoping to get it again next year at the next event. Yes, please.
So who, in that case, who do you view as your competitors? Is it banks, other MFIs, or is it new entrants to the market, such as Lydia and other FinTech players?
You see, one of the things I've learned with business is that if you want to succeed in retail as much as possible, we don't see ourselves as being in competition with banks because the banks cannot match what we offer. No bank can give a loan to anybody in Nigeria less than in a week. And I would give you a loan within minutes. So the banks are not my competitors. The microfinance banks, too, are probably not my competitors because they don't even have the technology infrastructure to actually match what I'm doing. And my focus is actually largely consumer-based. So for me, which is what I tell my colleagues, my competitor is the likes of MTN, is the likes of Nestle, Because what I see, I don't see myself as a bank. I see myself selling a product. And what's my product? Is a loan. So MTN is selling recharge cards. Nestle is selling Bombita or Milo, whatever it is. And I am selling money. So the minute I stop seeing myself as a retailer, I become a bank. So the minute I continue to see myself as a retailer, I remain a finance house.
I have a question. So you have connections with the bureaus and all of that. So do you have an idea how many of your customers already have credit with banks?
Oh, yes.
And then what would be the reason for then going to you to get loans?
Okay, today the bureaus have data for about 35 million Nigerians, individuals. And every bank submits a return every month. All the 24, 25 commercial banks submit a return to the 3 bureaus every month. And all microfinance banks are also liable to submit returns to the bureaus. So there's no data you want that you don't get from the bureaus. So what I do is that on every transaction, electronically, we have an interface with all the bureaus. So first I check, do you have any past due more than 30 days? Once you have a past due more than 30 days, it's a fail. Secondly, I check, do you have a return check? Because we use checks. Do you have a return check, more than one return check in a 6-month period? It's a failure. So all these checks are electronic, and the bureau actually provide the data to everybody. So there's nobody that I can't actually access his or her information there.
So you have customers that have bank loans
Oh, yes.
already?
Oh, yes. We have both. We have
They would
customers that
rather-
have bank
and-
loans.
And they would rather go to you because?
They would come to me because access to money, speed of money. Let me give you one survey. We did a survey 3 years ago. We took 75 people. We put them in a room like this. Lawyers, doctors, bankers, professionals, all across the sphere of Nigeria. And we asked just one question. We asked all of them, where do you go when you need money? 73 of them said they will go to their father, their mother, their uncle, their auntie, their brother, their sister, their husband, their wife. Only 2 said they will go to a bank. That clearly tells you the opportunities in Nigeria.
Africa. Just on regulations, any thoughts? You're a regulated entity? No?
Oh, we are regulated. We are a microfinance bank, and the license is issued by the Central Bank of Nigeria. So we are thoroughly regulated, actually over-regulated, I would say. So because the reality is that we've realized that our business model is largely consumer finance based, and the microfinance banking license actually restricts you to even the volume of funds you can actually lend. So what we've done is that we are migrating. We got our approval last week from the central bank. We are migrating from microfinance banking license to a finance house license, which allows us to do a whole lot more. So from probably next week, we are now going to be known as Page International Financial Services Limited.
I'm struggling to understand how scalable your business is. So what percentage of your staff sit in technology and IT versus in the rest of the organization? And if you were going to double your client base, what would that do to your non-IT staff complement?
Okay. One of the things we did when we started off is that, you can't succeed with retail if you don't go into partnerships. And I saw that from day one, and for us, that was our vision. The banking industry in Nigeria, I was the chief operating officer of one of the top 5 banks in Nigeria for about 10 years. So I opened 250 branches. I did 1,300 ATMs. So I understood the waste that we actually put into infrastructure. So I said I was going to do partnerships. So we went into partnerships with people, with a lot of companies. Today, I have only 4 people in my technology team. But where I have more people in is actually risk management, operations, and internal control. Because that is where the risk
Sorry,
is.
the last question, and then we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
So since you're a financial retail player offering products, are you moving into life insurance, other insurance products, other financial service products?
One of the things we decided to do is, or to remain into is our focus. You know, a lot of these things distract us. So we believe that for today and probably in the short term, we'd want to focus on our hardcore business, which is retail lending. We see opportunities. For instance, I'm sure our logo is orange. Today, we have one of the largest insurance companies in Nigeria called Axamansard. We've gone into partnership with them. And if we have very successful companies succeeding, why would I want to go into the business? Instead, I would actually want to support them. So what we're doing, for instance, with insurance is that we're trying to actually offer we're starting with flight insurance. So once you want to step on board, you have an app. All you need to do is just press a key, and you have a life insurance or a travel insurance for that flight. And it probably would cost you equivalent of less than $1. So with that, we're sharing the income. And why would I want to go or invest into insurance when I can actually make a lot of money through those channels? And I have their database. So with a company that has probably close to maybe 6-7 million customers in Nigeria.
Thank you. Thank you. Give them a round of applause, people. Thank you.